your assets, please see me or Olympia right here. And we're still unsure whether or not we're going to do the processional, so stay tuned for more details on that. But right now, it is my pleasure to introduce Rachel Lazar, President and CEO of Americans United for Separation of Church and State. Rachel is a lawyer. She's formerly worked at the Religious Action Center for Reform Judaism and the National Women's Law Center. Rachel.
Thank you, Andrew. And good morning, Missouri. Americans United has been around for 75 years, and one of our oldest chapters is right here and still thriving in St. Louis. How fitting that we are set to make history in this same location today. Monday was Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Monday was also National Religious Freedom Day. Sunday marks the 50th anniversary of the Roe v. Wade decision. And today we are challenging Missouri's abortion ban in court for every citizen of this great state. Woo! Americans United envisions a nation where we are all free to live as ourselves and believe as we choose. But abortion bans destroy freedom. They impose one narrow religious view on all of us, taking away our freedom to make decisions about our own bodies, our own health, our own lives, and our own future according to our own religious and moral beliefs. That's why Americans United is joining with the National Women's Law Center, the law firm Arnold & Porter, and local counsel Denise Lieberman to sue under Missouri's strong and long-standing commitment to the separation between church and state. It's time to hold Missouri to that promise. We are so proud to be representing 13 clergy from 6 different faith traditions in this groundbreaking lawsuit. Our lawsuit seeks to nullify Missouri's abortion ban in its entirety, rather than to carve out a religious exemption for one particular religious group or another. Because when Missouri state legislators give their personal religious doctrine the force of law, they take away all Missourians' religious freedom, from the devout to the non-believer. Religious freedom forbids religious rule. Religious freedom belongs equally to all of us. It doesn't only belong to those of us who hold more power in a state legislature or on the U.S. Supreme Court. And lest there be any doubters that this ban is religiously motivated, Missouri officials repeatedly told us that they were codifying their personal religious beliefs. They said it loudly and clearly when they were passing the law. They even wrote into the abortion ban that, quote, Almighty God is the author of life. Now, some people may be surprised that we're announcing this lawsuit in the beautiful Christ Church Cathedral. Surprised that our plaintiffs in this trailblazing lawsuit are a large group of committed clergy. Don't they look beautiful, by the way? They shouldn't be surprised. The truth is that religious extremists and their lawmaker allies have waged a coordinated disinformation campaign to call all things that advance equality anti-religion or anti-Christian. Well, today's lawsuit proves them wrong. Today, we are doing what America does at its very best, coming together from different traditions and backgrounds to insist on freedom without favor and equality without exception. We are here with love for each other and hope for our country. We are here as Americans, united for the separation of church and state, because we know how much is at stake if we don't hold our government accountable to this promise. Because we know that women, Black and brown people, people with disabilities, economically disadvantaged people, religious minorities, non-believers, and all marginalized communities suffer when religious extremists succeed in advancing their agenda. Because we know that democracy itself rests on church-state separation. Because we know that America needs a national recommitment to church-state separation. Let's start right here with Missouri. Thank you. So now you're in for a treat. We're going to hear from AU's partners and some of our plaintiffs in this groundbreaking new lawsuit. Up first is a wonderful colleague, Michelle Banker, the Director of Reproductive Rights and Health Litigation at the National Women's Law Center. Michelle, take it away.
Thank you so much, Rachel, and hello, everybody. My name is Michelle Banker, and I'm an attorney that leads litigation for reproductive rights and health at the National Women's Law Center. We've been fighting for gender justice through policy, legal action, and culture change for over 50 years. In fact, just 1 year after my organization was founded, Roe versus Wade became law. This Sunday would be the 50th anniversary of Roe. But religious and sexist extremists across the country have done everything to fight the last 5 decades to block access to this critical health care and push it so far out of reach for so many. And then just that the court last year sided with them and stripped us of this constitutional right that allows each of us to make personal decisions about our bodies, our families, and our lives. I am proud to stand here today with our friends at Americans United and our wonderful clients in this important case that tells Missouri lawmakers, you will not get away with your attempts to control and dehumanize us. Rather than letting each person follow their own beliefs when making important personal decisions about their health and futures, these politicians have chosen to force us to live according to their beliefs and have put in place dangerous, medically unnecessary bans and restrictions on abortion that too frequently cost people their health and even their lives. For many of our clients in this case, standing behind me now, and who we will turn to shortly, their faith calls them to support abortion access because of how critical it is to the health, autonomy, economic security, and equality of women and all who can become pregnant. We're all here today to say, you cannot impose your religious beliefs on us or use your religious beliefs to deny us the care that we need. Enough is enough. We are taking action and fighting back against this outrageous attack on Missourians and making clear that if you want to attack abortion in every way, we will use every tool we have to fight back. I dream of a world like many of those around me right now, where people have the right to consult with their own faith and their own conscience as they make decisions about pregnancy and parenting. People deserve support and compassion when they make decisions as personal as the decision to get an abortion. Today's lawsuit is the next step in getting us closer to that reality. And I will now pass the mic off to our lovely client speakers. Thank you all so much.
Okay. Next up is the Right Reverend Dion Johnson, Bishop of the Episcopal Diocese of Missouri. And I wanted to thank Bishop Dion for opening up this beautiful, meaningful venue for us today. All yours.
Good morning. It is my joy to welcome you to this sacred space where you can be you, be here, and be loved. And on the behalf of the Episcopalians that are gathered across the eastern half of the state of Missouri, thank you all for the work and for being here. A couple millennia ago, the prophet Micah asked the question, what does the Lord require of you? to do justice, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. This is ultimately about restoring the dignity to be able to walk humbly with your God. So we are grateful for you all to be here, and we're happy to be a part of this movement as we move forward. Last but not least, I will say there's a great mystic, Catherine of Siena, who said that when you are fully who you are, you set the world on fire. Today we are about setting the world on fire.
Next, we'll hear from Reverend Tracy Blackman, the Associate General Minister of Justice and Local Church Ministries for the United Church of Christ. And I wanted to thank Reverend Blackman for being one of the first clergy who came forward and said, yes, I want to be part of this lawsuit. So, Reverend Blackman.
Good morning, everyone. The United Church of Christ is a denomination comprised of approximately 750,000 members, over 5,000 churches dispersed throughout our 50 states and the District of Columbia. For the past 36 years, I have been a proud resident of St. Louis County. During this time, I have witnessed great moments in our history when the collective strength and will of the people yielded positive change in our region. Businesses have come and thrived here. We have some of the best universities and healthcare systems in the nation. As clergy, I am proud of our rich and diverse religious expression in Missouri. Most of the clergy I have the privilege to stand with today are really my friends. We may not all worship the same way or the same day, but we share a commitment to the seeking and the well-being of safety for all people. Sometimes we come to different conclusions about matters, often for the same reason, because our faiths inform our intentions. And often, like today, we come to the same conclusion for different reasons. Yet we all agree that our freedom to live out our faiths or profess no faith at all is an inalienable right, I believe, bestowed by God. Such a concept is not foreign in this nation. The First Amendment of the United States Constitution states that Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting its free exercise. Thomas Jefferson himself, in his 1802 letter to the Danbury Baptist Association, said the American people built a, quote, wall of separation between the church and the state, end quote. And my friends, without this separation, there is neither religious freedom nor just law. This is why I stand with my colleagues today to bring this suit against a state that I love. The Missouri Constitution ensures a strict separation of church and state. Our elected officials have violated their oath to uphold that Constitution by weaponizing religious beliefs to deny abortion access in a state where studies prove these actions are not the will of the majority of the people. I am not here to debate the morality of abortion with anyone. I'm here to defend women and birthing people's right not to have to, and to expose the hypocrisy of legislators who hide behind a feigned pro-life agenda while serving a pro-death penalty state.
Thank you, Reverend Blackman. Next, we'll hear from Maharat Rory Picker-Nice, an Orthodox Jewish leader who says Orthodox Jews don't have female leaders, by the way, from the executive director of the Jewish Community Relations Council of St. Louis.
Good morning.
Morning.
My name is Rory Picker-Nice, and I stand here today as a woman, as a mother, as a proud resident of Missouri, as an Orthodox Jew, and as a faith leader, to say clearly and unequivocally that abortion is health care and should be a right for every person in this state. The truth is, I don't have one singular view on abortion. I cannot tell you today how I would counsel a person seeking an abortion until they are sitting in front of me in the fullness of their lives, their stories, their experiences, their needs, their personhood. And so I cannot tell you today what I would say to that person in that moment, but I can tell you two things with certainty. One, Judaism demands that my first priority must be to the living, breathing, fully formed person sitting in front of me. Amen. And two, Missouri's total abortion ban currently in law denies people the full range of options allowed and even mandated under Jewish law. But let me be clear, I am not here today to advocate that Missouri incorporate a Jewish view on abortion into our laws. I'm here today because none of our religious views on abortion or anything else should be enshrined into our laws.
Yes.
And simply put, when Missouri lawmakers explicitly state that life begins at conception, that is a theological statement. That is a religious statement. That is not a Jewish statement. And it violates the Missouri Constitution, which prohibits the establishment of religion. The separation of church and state is a cornerstone of our democracy. And I am proud to stand alongside my colleagues in support of that democracy and for equal rights for all the people in the state of Missouri.
Next, I'd like to call to the mic Reverend Barbara Pfeiffer, a retired United Methodist minister and state representative for Missouri District 90 in St. Louis County.
Thank you. I am Barbara Pfeiffer. I am a pastor. I am a state representative. I'm a woman. I'm a mother. I'm a grandmother. I'm also a person who has experienced difficulties in pregnancy. I experienced a missed abortion when I was 23 years old, and the state of Missouri couldn't figure out what to do with a dead fetus that I carried for 5 weeks. I've known for decades that the state is not capable of making healthcare decisions about my body. And the state is not capable of making healthcare decisions about your bodies either. I stand here today with this group of religious leaders. We are united in our opposition to the state of Missouri's bans on abortion. The Missouri Constitution prohibits the state from either establishing a religion or prohibiting the free exercise of religious faith. Missouri abortion bans violate this important principle. The plain language of the most recent statute banning abortions at different levels of pregnancy or dates of pregnancy begins with the statement, as was mentioned recently, in recognition that Almighty God is the author of life. Well, I personally would agree with that. But a constitution is not the place to make that kind of theological statement. And so I am left wondering, well, who is doing the recognition? Is it the people of Missouri? There are 6 million of us. Is it the state of Missouri? Is it Missouri legislators? I do know from my perch in the chamber of the House of Representatives, where, by the way, I transgressed. I have to tell you, I wore a cardigan last week. That may be the most transgressive thing I ever do, folks. But I know that from cardigans to conception, the state of Missouri is increasingly saying women don't count. And that is wrong. It is not the purview of the state of Missouri either to arbitrate between the richly diverse beliefs of our people or to impose one religious belief on all of us. Missouri bans on abortion rest firmly on one religious belief. And that is actually a religious belief that is contrary to my faith. It's contrary to my experience. It is contrary to my rational understanding of the world. The rights and needs of a fully sentient, autonomous human being must take precedence over an embryo or a fetus. At a very, very personal level, I learned at age 23 that the state of Missouri cared more about a dead fetus than a living woman. And if I had died, I would never have had children. So it's a completely irrational point of view as well. Missouri bans on abortion use religious beliefs to deny basic human rights to people who are able to get pregnant. This law disenfranchises people from the fundamental tenets of democracy. It denies our civil rights. It puts our lives at risk. And we know that Missouri has one of the worst maternal mortality rates in the country. It endangers our freedom of conscience. It threatens our emotional, spiritual, and financial health. The life, the liberty, and the pursuit of happiness of every woman in Missouri is jeopardized by these bans, and they must be overturned.
Rabbi Jim Bennett, Senior Rabbi at Congregation Sha'ari Emeth, is going to bring us home.
Thank you so much. And I want to thank Bishop Dion for opening our gathering today by quoting from the prophetic words of Micah, whose words I wear around my shoulders as a yoke and a reminder. And as I know many of my colleagues and friends share as well as the core of their essence, that we should always do justly and always love kindness and mercy. And most of all, we should do what we can with the greatest of humility. In that humility, I grew up in understanding that the founders of the United States of America were committed to this concept of separation of church and state and to protecting all people from the imposition of the religious beliefs of others upon them. I believed and I learned and I was taught growing up that we are free in America to believe what we want, to practice the faith that we wish, and we are protected from others imposing their beliefs upon us. I too am a Missourian, And I always thought that those who govern this state felt guided by these same principles. But Missouri's abortion bans call all of this into question. As a Reformed Jew, I too believe that these bans, these regulations, these restrictions contradict the principles that are established by our Missouri Constitution, assuring every citizen freedom of and from the religion of others. Elected officials, by passing these laws, by seeking to enforce them upon women and those who can become pregnant, have sought to impose their own personal religious convictions upon others who do not share them, as is evidenced by our voices today. They seek to establish one very specific version of faith as a guiding principle for others who simply do not see the world as they do. As we've heard, Judaism, through centuries of interpretation of our faith, has always differentiated between an unborn fetus and a human being who has emerged fully into the world. Judaism prioritizes the life and well-being of the mother, permitting and sometimes requiring abortion in order to save the life of a mother, and even to protect her psychological well-being. Reformed Jewish values, those that inform my faith, also demand that the freedom and the autonomy of each and every human being over the fate of our own life and body are sacred. And so I too stand here to add my voice in support of freedom and justice, reproductive freedom and justice. I stand here today to do what I can to insist that the laws of our state do not impose the faith of the few upon the many. I stand here today with all of my colleagues to do what I can to support the rights of women to determine the destiny of their own bodies with freedom and autonomy. I stand here today to protect the freedom of religion of all people, not just some, and the freedom of all people from being forced to adhere to the religious principles of others, the few who have gained powers of positions of power over the lives of the many, those who see faith differently from them. And most of all, I stand here today to join with my colleagues and with all of you in asking the court to overturn Missouri's abortion bans on the grounds that they do not permit us to live freely in this state, that they violate the religious freedom guaranteed by our state's constitution, and without compassion impose a heavy toll on human beings who are committed and entitled to the same freedom and autonomy and dignity guaranteed to every single one of us.
What an amazing group of clergy. They come from all parts of the state and they represent people from all parts of the state. If you're out there and you're watching this, Missourians, we are here to say, we've got you to the best of our abilities. We will do everything we can to restore the right to an abortion and church-state separation to your state. Just a few more thank yous once again to the National Women's Law Center, to our local counsel, Denise Lieberman, to our cooperating law firm, Arnold and Porter, to Pro-Choice Missouri here on the ground, to all of the local groups who've lent their energy and support and will continue to do that to see this lawsuit succeed. Thank you so much for being part of this. And now I'll turn it back to Andrew, who can tell us a few logistics about what follows.
Okay, so I know media wanted to talk to Rachel or some of the other folks. Come see Olympia or I over here if you are interested in that. Brian I'm going to ask to come up. We are going to have some folks do a photo, and we're going to talk about the processional too. So Brian's going to arrange that while we are talking with media.
All right, for all of you here from community organizations, faith leaders, faith institutions that came to support, we'd like to invite you to come up onto stage now to surround all of our plaintiffs. And we're going to take some photos, make some photo opportunities for the media. Afterwards, we are going to be doing a procession led by our faith leaders to the local city